Hey everyone, Dan here with another review of The Mandalorian. This time we're looking at episode 14, or chapter 14, episode 6 of season 2 called The Tragedy. And you can tell by that title, it's not going to go well. This is an episode written by Jon Favreau and directed by Robert Rodriguez. So it's nice to see Robert come into the fold over here, and he does an amazing job. And if you haven't watched it yet, please go watch it now. You don't want any of the spoilers because it is one of those episodes that I sat there with my jaw dropped through most of it. So if you haven't seen it, it's a 34-minute episode. Go see it and then come back. Okay, for those of you sticking around, we're going to continue. And the opening is this cute scene between Din and Grogu, as Din is getting used to calling him Grogu and getting him to do more of the Force tricks. But at the same time, we can see that Din is having a hard time with the idea of giving the kid up. He's trying to convince himself it's the right thing to do, is how it comes across. And yeah, you can see it's going to be tough. But anyway, they end up right at Tython. So where a lot of people were thinking it was going to be a filler episode, or he's going to have to do a side quest or something like that. Nope, right to Tython. He finds the ruins right away. He has to land a little bit of ways because it's on the mountain, and he jetpacks up, and he takes Grogu and he puts him on the stone and then looks around to try to figure out how to start it. That's pretty much the opening of this. I mean, we just get right into it. And then he turns and looks up in the sky, and he sees a very familiar to us, not to him, but Slave One kind of flies into the scene. It's like, oh man, Slave One. Wow, and there it is, the Boba Fett return we've all been waiting for. More than just the hint at the end, we're actually going to get Boba Fett. So he turns to get the kid, because like, okay, no, we got to go. And suddenly, Grogu's activated the Seeing Stone. There's an energy force field up around him that Din can't even get through. So he decides he's going to go and try to save stop Boba Fett. Then he doesn't know it's Boba Fett at this point, but he runs down. He's got the blaster out, and then suddenly the ground gets strafed by him, and he slows down. And Boba says, "I'm not, I want to talk." And basically, he's there for his armor. He's been tracking him since Tatooine because he wants his armor back. He doesn't want the kid. He doesn't want Mando's armor. He wants his own armor back, and he's not alone. Fennec Shand is with him. Yes, Ming-Na Wen's character from last season that was left for dead in the desert. The same episode where we first got to see the Boba Fett, I guess we'll call it, where he comes in. And the first hint that he was coming back, well, that was him. And he rescued her, saved her, and used mechanical parts and stuff to fix her back up. And now she's in service to him. So they make a deal to put down their weapons, including his jetpack and stuff, so that they can talk it out. And, of course, Mando is asking Boba Fett, are you an actual Mandalorian? And it's interesting here is his response is the same one that Jango Fett gave Kenobi in Attack of the Clones, which is, I am just a simple man trying to make my way through the galaxy. So, no, he could have just said, yes, I'm a Mando, but he kind of strung it out for a bit. Anyway, so as they're talking and trying to figure it out, an Imperial transport lands and a bunch of stormtroopers start bailing out. And suddenly all hell breaks loose. And Din tries to get back up to the kid and tries to get through the force field and ends up being thrown back and knocked out for a little bit. We get to see Fennec firing and shooting at stormtroopers. We get to see the stormtroopers busting out big weapons. Like there's a mortar trooper who's in white and yellow. They get out an E-web and start blasting the side of the mountain. And Boba gets out his gaffy stick from the Tusken Raiders and starts just beating the crap out of these guys and shooting. And as you think they're starting to eliminate some of the stormtroopers, a second transport drops and more stormtroopers come out. And Boba ends up at one point, after just crushing the hell out of some of these stormtroopers, he ends up near the Razor Crest that has the door open, and he's like, I think my armor's in there. And then we cut to Shand about to be overrun by stormtroopers, and Din jumps in and uses the whistling birds and starts shooting up, and stands in front of her as a tank would and starts taking a lot of the hits while she was shooting around him. And it looks like they're starting to get control of it. And then more and more, and then blast after blast, and finally they're about to get overrun again, and Boba drops in full armor. Well, he's still got the Tatooine robes on, but he's got his helmet, he's got his chest piece, he's got his gauntlets, and he is total badass. Just gunfire, shooting weapons, boom, boom, boom. It's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous as he just cleans up and ends up. The three of them chase the stormtroopers back to the transports. They get on, they start to fly away, two ships like this. Boba flips his little visor thing down, locks on one of the ships, fires, blows it up, and its debris ends up crashing into the second one and blows that ship up too. And Mando looks at him and goes, "Man, great shot." And Boba's like, "I was aiming for the other one." And so we got a little humor moment beat there. And it's like, okay, they protected the kid. Everything's going to be okay. Mando's got his armor back. And then out of nowhere, a laser blast, hits the Razor Crest and destroys it. Like, we're never seeing this ship again. It's done. So all of you that bought the Hasbro Razor Crest ship, Hasbro Labs, yeah. Press F in the chat for the Razor Crest. Anyway, so now Mando's running back up, trying to get to the kid, and we're up on the ship, and it turns out there's a Star Destroyer cruiser. I don't know the term for this particular one, but Gideon's ship is up above, and he's there, and he tells her, "Launch the Dark Troopers." And 4 Dark Troopers are just launched out of the ship. Not in a ship, just on their own, launched. And they fly down, and before Fennec and Din can get to the baby has come out of the trance, the shield is down, and he's half asleep. And the Dark Troopers land, they pick up the kid and start taking off with it. And before Din or Fennec Shan can get there. So as they're flying off, Boba shows up in Slave 1 and starts to track them. And they tell him, "Don't shoot because you don't want to hurt the kid." But as he follows them back and he sees this Imperial light cruiser, his first reaction is the Empire is back, and he doesn't look happy about it. So the kid ends up in the ship and takes off. Gideon gets his wish, and they're gone. And Boba gets back on the ground, and he's talking to Mando, and he pulls up his family tree, and he shows it on here that his dad was a foundling. Jango Fett was a foundling and fought in the Mandalorian Civil War, making him an actual Mandalorian, and the armor was passed down. So that makes it Boba's by right, by the way. So Din says, "Yes, that is your armor." And Boba said, "Well, I made you a deal that we would, the child would be safe if I got the armor back. And basically, I'm with you until that child is back in your arms." So Fennec and Boba are now going to work with Din to get the baby back. And they immediately head for Navarro, and they go to Cara Dune, Gina Carano's character, to get information from her, as she's now a New Alliance Marshal. She accepted the badge that was left. And she pulls up because he needs a prison record on Miggs Mayfield, because he's got to break him out, because Mayfield is going to be the way that he gets to Gideon. Now, I don't know the connection yet. I have got to do some research and see what that is. But Mayfield, of course, was Bill Burr's character from the Prisoner episode last season, with the 3 guns, that extra gun up here, which always seemed weird. So he's got to. So next episode is probably going to be them busting him out. But if you look at the pictures of the different people that they're scrolling through for the prison records, Nick Frost is a picture up there. So maybe Nick Frost will be in next episode. That'll be interesting. But Kara's like, I'm a marshal now. I can't, allow certain things. There's some rules that go along with it. And of course, Mando goes, Gideon has the kid. And her face just goes, okay, I'm in. Let's go get him. Well, that's not where the episode ends. The episode ends back on Gideon's ship. And he goes in to see the child who's in a holding cell. And Grogu is using the Force to beat the crap out of two stormtroopers, like making them slam into each other and throw them about the room. Like total dark side stuff, just boom, 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 boom. And Gideon stops the other stormtroopers from trying to help. He's like enjoying watching it. It's like, all right, this is cool. I like this. And then when the baby finally stops, it's tired and kind of leans over and it's barely hanging on. And it's, and then he pulls out and kind of teases it with the darksaber. It's a really weird scene, but he's almost like, oh yeah, I'm gonna, and then he tells them to let Pershing know that they have the asset, but then they stun the child and they put him in little tiny handcuffs, and you end the episode with little baby Grogu cuffed and laying on its side in the chamber. And it's like, okay. All I could think of is, where the hell are we going next? Are we going to have a prison break episode? And then, can you do all that in one? And then, that doesn't seem like enough to have a confrontation with Gideon in the season finale. There's only 2 episodes left. It just feels like we've suddenly got so much to do that we might end up with a cliffhanger. We might not, may not have Grogu by the end of the season. It might have to carry over to season 3. I'm fascinated by what's going to happen next. So much got set up in this episode that you really don't know where we're going next. Is it going to be him putting a crew together to go get Mayfield, or is that, will he get Mayfield? And is there anybody else he's got to recruit? Are we going, and there's just so much to comprehend at this point, and there's no clues. Every bit of hints we had have paid off. Even this yellow and white stormtrooper, all the hints, all the little clues we had, all the people they said were going to appear in the series, all that's on the table now. So there's 2 more episodes and we do not know what the hell they're going to be. Other than we're going to get Bill Burr back and possibly Nick Frost. I guess we'll find out next week. So, if you like this video, hit the like and subscribe button, because if you subscribe next week when I review that episode, you'll know when I post it. Also, tell your friends about the channel. I'd appreciate it. I'd like to get some more hits and views, but please hit the like buttons too. So, all right. Thanks for coming. Hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.